Hello everyone, I'm Shourya. In this video, I'll be discussing how to manage CLAT as well as a daily normal school life as well. I'll be giving you tips from my time last year preparing for CLAT while also juggling a fulfilling and wholesome school life as well. So, let's get started. Firstly, you have to be serious about both CLAT as well as school. Uh, what I mean by that is, you don't have the time to slack off now. Even if in the previous years you could have slacked off a little bit, थोड़ा सा lazy हो जाते, थोड़ा procrastinate कर लेते. Now you can't because you just don't have the time to do that. It's that simple. You just don't have the time to procrastinate or be lazy or default on your submissions because टाइम ही नहीं है यार. तुम्हें क्लैट के लिए भी पढ़ना है, स्कूल को भी मैनेज करना है, एक सोशल लाइफ भी बनाए रखनी है. तो juggling all these things is going to be stressful, but it is doable. If I can do it, you can do it as well. All you have to do for that is you need to be on top of all your assignments, all your notebook submissions, all your projects, all your uh, exams in school. All those things you have to take them seriously and do them properly because just you can't waste time because you have to use that time for CLAT. And so if you're slacking off on one of those things, the other is going to be affected. If you're slacking off on CLAT, school will be affected. If you're slacking off on school, CLAT will be affected. And you can't have either of those things happening. Therefore, you just don't have the time to slack off. It's really that simple. So please be serious about both CLAT as well as school from the beginning. All right. Secondly, you have to start slow, but you have to start early. Starting early, as in, I think even by now you should have started preparing for CLAT at least a little bit. Um, I personally started preparing for CLAT last year around the starting of March. So from March to December, it's a lot of time for you to do stuff. Even by now, even from April, May, June, as early as you can start, you should be starting. But you should be starting slow. As in, right now is not the time to worry about CLAT too much because in general, for most schools, the first 6 months of 12th grade is far more hectic than the last 6 months. Because in the last 6 months, you really only have revisions and exams and pre boards and all those things. But for the starting 6 months, you have notebooks, you have projects, internal assessments, all those things. So for the first 6 months, things are really a lot more hectic at school, and therefore you need to focus in school far more for the first 6 months compared to the remaining 6 months because there's just a lot more to do for school than there is to do for CLAT. So for now, last year I didn't really do a lot of stuff at this point in time. I read the compendiums, monthly compendiums when they came out, and did one mock test every 2 weeks or something. That's all I did. Of course, if you have more spare time, you can do more stuff, or if you have less spare time, you can do less stuff as well. That all entirely depends on your personal circumstances. But this is what I did, and this was enough for me because right now you need to focus far more on school than you can focus on CLAT. Uh, Especially because if you're focusing on school right now more and grasping the concepts better, you won't need to revise as much later on in the remaining 6 months, and then you can use that time for CLAT. So therefore, right now you should be um, building the foundations of 12th grade really, really strong so that you don't have to work on that afterwards nearly as much. All right. Next, use your summer break wisely. You all have summer breaks coming up around June or something. So use those 30-ish days to do more productive things. You'll have to do your 12th grade projects in the summer break, but other than that, you'll have a lot of spare time. So you should use that spare time to do a bit of stuff for CLAT. So personally, I spend the first 15 days doing all my school projects. So like drafting all what I have to do, the content, then writing it down and all those things. But I left the decoration part for, after when the internal assessments actually came up. So that was around November-ish or something. But even then, I was able to delay it till after CLAT by just asking my teachers. So right now, at least have the written part of your projects done during the first 2 weeks of the summer break, but then use the remaining 2 weeks to focus solely on CLAT. Or if you have any pending work from school, like unfinished notebooks or something, do those and then start focusing on CLAT. My point with all this is कि यार once you're up to date with all your school assignments and everything, start focusing solely on CLAT, because you won't get such an opportunity again where you have 15-20 days that are entirely free that you can use to study for CLAT. So from this period, start practicing a little bit more. Maybe rather than every 2 weeks, attempt a mock test every single week. Start doing sectional tests more often. um, Brush up on the concepts as well for all those sections. So for logical reasoning, for example, learn what are main ideas, what are conclusions, what are inferences. um, Grasp the basic concepts of mathematics as well, कि ratios and proportions कैसे calculate करना है, percentages कैसे calculate करना है, all those things. Just in general, start studying for CLAT more during your summer break, because you again won't get this opportunity anytime soon after summer break has ended. So make use of this while you can. Next, you have to be dynamic in your preparation. Uh, मान लो तुम्हें एक हफ्ते बहुत सारा काम मिल गया स्कूल का, लाइक 5 notebook submissions, 3 tests, 1 exam, I don't know, God forbid ऐसा कुछ हो, but अगर हो गया, you have to then understand कि right now your priority should be school more than CLAT, because you have to be flexible. You need to know कि what is more urgent, what is more demanding, and what is something that you can put off for a later date. Understand that I'm not saying procrastinate, I'm saying prioritize things effectively, because you can't prioritize everything all at once, all the time. So you have to understand कि इस स्पेसिफिक मोमेंट में कौन सी चीज़ ज़्यादा अर्जेंट है और कौन सी चीज़ को तुम थोड़ा सा बात के लिए छोड़ सकते हो. So if you have a lot of stuff to do from school, then you have to put CLAT on the back burner for a little bit. But at the same time, you have to understand कि अगर स्कूल से थोड़ा सी कम काम मिल रहा है, then you have to put more emphasis on CLAT. You can't take that extra time as leisure, because CLAT तुम्हारे पीछे पड़ा है. You have to attempt CLAT in just a few months, and right now is not the time for leisure. Uh, like, of course, I'm not saying just study all day every day. There is a time and a place for recreational activities as well. I did a lot of stuff outside of academics as well, but I'm not saying to, you know, disregard academics in favor of leisure. Both are equally important, but you can't disregard one of those things for the other, regardless of whether that thing is leisure or academics. So be dynamic. अगर तुम्हारे पास कुछ extra काम मिल गया स्कूल से, then you have to understand कि you can't study as much as you want to for CLAT, at least in that particular period. But अगर स्कूल से थोड़ा कम काम मिल रहा है, you also have to understand कि you need to focus more on CLAT during that time. Next, use your weekends to your advantage. This is a mistake even I made a lot before 12th grade कि I looked at weekends as holidays कि मैंने हफ्ते भर मेहनत की है, now I can relax and just chill for the weekends. But that is tempting, very tempting, but you need to use that time, those Saturdays and Sundays, to either get up to date with pending schoolwork or preparing for CLAT, because both of those things are equally important and both those things are going to take a lot of your time. So जहाँ भी तुम्हें टाइम मिल रहा है यूज करना पड़ेगा, and generally weekdays में टाइम नहीं मिलेगा if you're going to school, doing your homework, and even worse if you have tuition after school as well. But because you can't spend that time during the weekdays, you need to find time on the weekends, and that is the most reasonable thing to do, because as I said, weekends पे ही time मिलेगा, weekdays पे time मिलता ही नहीं है. So you need to use the weekends to your advantage, because दिन में टाइम नहीं मिलेगा, वीकडेज पे टाइम नहीं मिलेगा. You have to do so much stuff for school, then homework, then even worse if you have tuition, because the entire day goes by like that, and then you have to rest as well. You need some rest, some leisure as well. So weekdays पे time नहीं मिलेगा. You have to find that time on the weekends. So take some weekends off. I'm not saying कि हर weekend पे पढ़ाई ही पढ़ाई करो, but take some time wherever you can, as much as you can, to study for CLAT or at least study for school. Just anything productive in general from either CLAT or from school, because you need to find time like this. Weekdays पे तुम्हें time नहीं मिलेगा, and if you don't study on the weekends, you won't study ever. Okay. And lastly, make use of leaves. This depends on तुम्हारा school कैसा है, but I was fortunate enough that I attended a really, really good school, and I was able to get leave for the entire month of November, to focus solely on CLAT, and that helped me a lot, uh, because those are 30 entire days that you can dedicate solely to CLAT, immediately before the exam, and that is huge. So if you can get that, ask your teachers if you can get that, because that is huge. That is going to be really, really beneficial. But even if you can't get that, at least make use of all the other leaves that you do get, because the Indian academic calendar really does give you so many leaves for festivals, jayantis, holidays. There's a lot of stuff, and so you shouldn't be taking those leaves as holidays. Rather, you should look at them as opportunities for you to study more. Also, this is a bit risky. I wouldn't personally recommend doing this, but there's something I did. Uh, I was absent every single Saturday for the entire school year, almost the entire school year. Like, we have normal working days, 2 Saturdays out of every single month. We have the other two off, but we have normal school days for the other 2 Saturdays. But I was absent every single Saturday. Uh, it is very risky. I'll admit, it is very, very risky. But it was worth it in the end for me, because it gave me 6 extra hours every single week to study solely for CLAT. And my attendance was affected, I'll admit, but it was still above the required percentage, which is 75%. So in the end, it all worked out quite well for me. But this is, मतलब, तुम्हारे ऊपर है ये. Uh, it was very risky, and therefore I'm not entirely confident or comfortable recommending this to every single person. So I guess do with that information whatever you will. I'm not entirely confident in recommending this, because many teachers about the chit, they didn't scold me for attendance, but if your circumstances are different, then naturally you shouldn't be doing this. But you have to make that decision yourself, and it is something you can do. But don't worry about this too much, because like, don't think यार मैं CLAT के लिए enough नहीं कर रहा हूँ, school के लिए enough नहीं कर रहा हूँ, because it's not that difficult. I mean, I was able to prepare for CLAT, do fairly well in school. I was a member of the public speaking club at my school. I was involved in many competitions, many MUNs. I play my guitar, I write poetry, and I had good social life as well. 8 things. And I was able to do all those relatively well. And it's not that difficult. It is challenging, I would say, but challenges are just that. They are challenges, and challenges can be overcome. So don't worry too much. I know you'll do well. And with that, that's all from my side. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to my channel and pressing the bell icon as well. If you have any suggestions, doubts, please put them in the comments below. I'll answer them either in the comments themselves, or if I think they deserve a separate video of their own, I'll make a separate video for them as well. And with that, that's all from my side. Bye bye.